Greetings, humans, and welcome to a special edition of The Smoke Show. I'm your host, Josh Smokey Hell Nelson, and this is my definitive statement for 2021 show. Shout out to Motown great Mary Wells. This is a My Guys episode. This will be what we can all look back on at the end of this coming season and be able to lavish praise upon me or ridicule me mercilessly, which honestly both are fun as hell for me. Before we kick into it, please take a moment and subscribe on whichever podcasting platform you're listening to this on so you don't miss a second of my off-brand fantasy madness. This podcast is brought to you by the Fantasy Points Media Group, home to the True North Fantasy Podcast, Dynasty Happy Hour, Play to Win, Injury Prone Pod with Dr. Edwin Porras, and of course, the Fantasy Points Podcast. But did you know that we've added to the ranks? Friends of the Smoke Show, the Dynasty Vipers crew, are now part of the most eclectic and electric minds north and south of the border. And that you could tell to your grandmama. That is, of course, if she plays fantasy football. She'll appreciate the call anyway. I guess what I'm trying to say is go call your grandma, folks. You can follow the Fantasy Points Media Group on Twitter at FantasyPTSLive, and you can follow the other presenter of this podcast, the True North Fantasy Football Crew, at True North FFB on Twitter, as well as www.truenorthffb.com. While you're at it, shoot us a follow at _smoke_show. And you can follow me at TNFF_Smokey. I think that takes care of all the technical shit. Let's do this. Smoke Show! So like I mentioned, this is a My Guys episode, a recorded version that will hopefully stand the test of time and prove my mettle. Last year, some of my guys included Calvin Ridley, Marquise Hollywood Brown, Joshua Kelly, and a name that will start off our list today. So, as that list I just rattled off started nice with some relatively low-hanging fruit of Ridley, some of the others just did not see the success I believe they would. Our first name today, though, was an early sleeper favorite of mine last year, and had he been receiving from a quarterback that could actually hit him on the deep ball, he would be viewed through a much higher ADP than he is going at currently, which is wide receiver 57, according to FantasyData.com's current ADP. Now, this receiver is Darnell Mooney, one of two My Guys that carry over from last year. As a testament to this call, Mooney is my most rostered player in fantasy, with over 40% exposure across my plethora of rosters. So you can safely say that I am a believer. I'm very excited at the prospect of Mooney's career tied to Justin Fields, who will competently be able to hit him with that deep ball that Mooney can do so much magic with. I am less excited about the prospect of Nagy and his QB1 Andy Dalton. Get the fuck out of here with that mess. I get it. Once you put Fields in, you can't really take him out. But who cares? If he sucks, let him suck and figure it out on the field. You want him learning behind Andy Dalton, learning a system that might be obsolete sooner than later? Put the rookie on and give him valuable reps with Allen Robinson and my guy, Darnell Mooney. Last year, Mooney was 11th in deep targets, but top 10 in unrealized air yards with 739. Ask yourself, do you think Fields is a better deep ball quarterback this year than the Foles-Trubisky combo that was last year? I believe he will be, which necessitates me being in on Mooney again this year, especially at his ADP. Whew. I might need a cold shower after that. While we're on the subject of repeat My Guys, my next one was my pre-draft QB1 for the 2021 NFL Draft, Mr. Tua Tagovailoa. Last season was not one that I had hoped for in some ways, but that's fine, as that one is behind us and behind Tua. He is used to the game speed and operations of the NFL and now has a proper offseason to prepare with a team that has given him a vote of confidence. By that, I'm referring to the off-season moves that the Dolphins organization has made, like adding Will Fuller in free agency and Tua's college receiver Jalen Waddle in the draft. Also, they added Jacoby Brissett, someone who is not there to challenge Tua, just to be a steady backup if called upon. These moves, to me, signal that they are ready to let my guy Tua chuck the damn ball with the same skills he showed off in college. Am I worried about the hip injury and its recovery? Not as much as I was last year, and honestly, I wasn't super worried about it then. I was in on this kid in college, and the injury did not make me waver. He has the pieces around him. This will not be a make or break year per se, but he is steadily running out of excuses now. I still 100% believe Tua will be the best real-life quarterback from the 2020 draft class when all is said and done. But you were looking for actionable fantasy information. I think that the majority of the Miami offense can be had at value, and value that I believe will be exceeded relative to ADP. So, my second flag plant, my guy, is Tua Tagovailoa. Oh, sweet coffee. Before we move on to a new name, it's time for some shameless promotion. You want the discount code for the hottest site in football? I've got it. Go to fantasypoints.com and use the promo code 21Smokey10, which sounds like it was communicated over CB radio, for discounted access to a pretty ridiculous plethora of tools, info, optimizers, importers, generators, and waffle makers from the all-star cast in the industry. Names like John Hansen, friend of the Smoke Show, Joe Dolan, Greg Cosell, Adam Kaplan, Tom Browley, Graham Barfield, Scott Barrett, Wes Huber. Do these names ring a bell? They should, because they are the all-star cast in the industry. Again, go to fantasypoints.com and use the promo code 21Smokey10. That's 21SMOKEY10. Waffle Maker is not part of this promotional deal or any deal on fantasypoints.com at all. The next name, as I mentioned, is a new one. And it might be some low-hanging fruit again, but low-hanging fruit is just as sweet. Besides, these are my guys. They don't have to be your guys. Judging by how my handful of drafts have been going recently, the next my guy is definitely Trevor Lawrence. I know what the historical data says. Actually, listen to JJ Zachariason's latest episode of the Late Round Podcast, episode 518, on how rookie quarterbacks affect their teammates. It is a fantastic episode, one of my favorites of his. One name that pops up in there a lot is one that T-Law gets some hype comparisons to in Andrew Luck. Now, Luck had Reggie Wayne and T.Y. Hilton, which is some nice weapons to come into. While they may not be as nice as those pieces were at the time, Lawrence is walking into a solid depth chart of skill position players. DJ Chark, Laviska Shenault, love him, Marvin Jones Jr., James Robinson, Travis Etienne, and Carlos Hyde are nothing to scoff at. Fuck off with your Tebow shit. I am quite excited to see what Lawrence can do with that crew. The one thing that gives me pause is Coach Urban Meyer, whose hubris can get the best of him and his decision-making. I'm hoping he can just use the talent that he has been gifted with and not bugger it up too much. Trevor Lawrence is one of the best quarterback prospects to ever come out of college. Not a bad train to hitch yourself to. The last name that we will discuss today will not be a shock to the people watching the video version of this, as I am wearing my Kyle Pitts t-shirt, courtesy of Viridian Global. Go to ViridianGlobal.com for the hottest apparel in all of football for guys, girls, kids, and more. My collection is up to 10 shirts, 4 hats, 2 toques, a polo, and 2 hoodies. I am not only a spokesman, I am a legit customer. These are the comfiest threads you could possibly wear, with fire designs from head designer and co-founder Mark Mathick and others. Go check them all out at www.viridianglobal.com. Back to my guys, though, and the next one is obviously Kyle Pitts. Once all my drafts are done this season, Pitts will likely end up as my second most rostered player behind Darnell Mooney. Those watching the video version of this will see my Florida Gators blanket draped over my chair, and Pitts is probably my favorite player to ever suit up for them. He is also the highest drafted tight end ever in the NFL. He is a monster on the field, and he happened to land in a pass-happy offense that just lost its number 2 option. This will lead. Yeah, that's right. I said it number 2. Calvin Ridley's their number 1. Now, this will lead to a little bit more trial by fire than it looked to be with Julio Jones on the roster. But if anyone can weather this against all odds birth into the NFL, it is Kyle Anthony Pitts. My favorite player in the NFL is George Kittle, so I guess I'm a tight end guy. How Pitts handles this year could definitely put him in contention with Kittle in my heart and on your rosters. For him to have the greatest rookie tight end season in history, several things would have to happen. First, breaking Mike Ditka's 60-year-old rookie tight end receiving yards record of 1,076 yards. That's impressive. Now, Pitts gets the advantage of 17 games compared to the 14 that Ditka did it in. To beat that, Pitts would have to average 64 yards per game or more across 17. Doesn't sound like a ton, no. But to put it in perspective, last season, only Kelsey and Waller averaged more than that. Kittle likely would have been there if not for his injury, but that is neither here nor there. So historically, the odds are against him reaching a 64 yards per game average. They're low. However, he is slotted in as the number 2 receiving option on a pass-friendly offense that drafted him knowing that Julio was gone. They knew that before the draft. They had the chance to change their team's direction and franchise with a new regime coming in by going quarterback or wide receiver in Chase. But they grabbed Pitts. Now, that was not haphazard. There are going to be plans to incorporate him all over this offense because that is the type of player he is. He is a giant-ass wide receiver that we get the luxury of slotting into tight end. Honest to smoke truth, I don't think he's going to break Ditka's record, but I think his ceiling allows for it. I think that he could beat out Jackson for third with 870, but that would still be a great season. The only thing I fear is that the hype train is out of control at this point, and no less than a record-breaking season will be enough for people. My suggestion is to view Pitts through a long game lens. This is an early investment that will be a solid producer for so many years to come, especially if leagues start transitioning over to tight end premium and everything like that, which a lot are already. Pitts. I believe that with every fiber of my being. So there you have it. Smokey's flag plants. The My Guys of 2021. I am putting my name on this, and y'all can either congratulate or condemn me for these. To do so, please hit me up on Twitter at TNFF_Smokey. And we can talk about what you thought about My Guys. Thank you so much for listening. I would greatly appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button. If you use my promo code 21Smokey10 at fantasypoints.com, let me know. It helps me out huge and convinces them to keep me around. This has been a special episode of The Smoke Show. My name is Josh Smokey Hell Nelson. I'm out!